Good day, class. Today we will learn two important statistical tools used in almost every field, from science, engineering, business, medicine, and even everyday decision making. These tools are correlation and simple linear regression. Before we start, uh, let me explain what is correlation. Correlation tells us how two variables are related. If one variable increases and the other also increases, it is positive correlation. If one increases and the other decreases, this is negative correlation. If they do not move together, there are no correlation. Think of correlation as measuring the strength and direction of a relationship. We can use a value called R, correlation coefficient, that ranges from -1 to +1. Let's example is R is equals to +1. This is a perfect positive relationship. If R is equals to -1, perfect negative relationship. If R is equals to 0, there are no relationship. Let's apply this in real life. For example, the more hours you study, the higher your test score. Ibig sabihin, yung magiging epekto daw ng yung magiging epekto daw natin is yun yung dependent variable. And yung ating magiging cost, which is independent variable. So, binigay nating example, ang independent variable po dito yung hours of study. And yung ating dependent variable, which is effect, yung ating test score. Sunod naman po is, what is simple linear regression? Once we know that two variables are related, the next step is predicting. Simple linear regression creates the best fitting straight line through the data points. This line helps us estimate or predict the value of one variable using the other. We can call the variables x and y, which is yung x is dependent variable, the cost or input. Yung y, the dependent variable. Yung regression line po natin is makukuha po natin yun sa linear equation, yung kagaya ng y is equals to mx plus b, or yung slope, where yung b po natin is yung y-intercept. Yung mx, yun yung ating slope. Kunwari, y is equals to 50 plus 5x. Yung x po natin is study hours. Yung y, yun yung ating score. Then studying 4 hours gives 70 pag sinubstitute po natin yung x as 4. Proceed naman po tayo sa ating introduction. Regression and correlation determine whether a relationship between two or more numerical or quantitative variables exists. Regression is used to describe the nature of the relationship. There are two types of relationships: simple or two variables, and multiple or many variables. The chapter discusses the fundamental principles of linear regression and correlational analysis, including empirical models using linear regression, least square estimation, hypothesis testing, or t-test and ANOVA, prediction of future observations, residual analysis, coefficient determination, and the correlation model. Proceed naman po tayo sa next slide. Ang ating po intended learning outcomes is nakasulat na po dito. Number 1 is construct empirical models using simple linear regression. Number 2, estimate the parameters in linear regression model using the least square approach. Number 3, test hypothesis on simple linear regression. Number 4, predict future observation using the regression model. Number 5, determine the adequacy of the regression model using residual analysis and coefficient determination. Number 6, apply correlation model. So, let's proceed naman po sa ating next slide, which is empirical models. Many engineering and science problems involve studying how variables relate to each other. While some relationships are exact and predictable, most real-world situations involve uncertainty. Regression analysis helps model and understand this uncertain relationship. Nakalagay po dito yung studies relationships between variables. For example, pressure, temperature, velocity minus area. Some are deterministic. For example, yung distance is equals to initial distance plus velocity times time. But most are non-deterministic. Nakalagay din po dito is regression analysis models and explores non-deterministic relationships. Focus po natin dito yung simple linear regression is isa lang po yung x and isa lang yung y. Then it is used also for prediction, optimization, and process control. Example po natin dito, kunwari sa real life, predicting a student's grade based on study hours. Kaya po ng example natin kanina. Yung predicting house prices. Yung size of house, number of bedrooms, locations. Also, ginagamit din po natin ito for checking the effect of temperature on electricity consumption. Which is, pwede po nating maging independent variable si temperature and yung energy usage po natin yung dependent variable. Next naman po dito tayo sa may table. Kung mapapansin nyo po, meron po tayo ditong 20 samples. Meron po tayo ditong 20 samples na meron po tayo dyan observation number, percentage of hydrocarbons, purity of oxygen. Mag-focus muna po tayo sa percentage of hydrocarbons and the purity of oxygens. There are 20 observations, meaning the experiment was done 20 times. For each observation, the researchers measured how much hydrocarbon was present and then check how pure the oxygen was. Yung independent and dependent variables natin. The percentage of hydrocarbons is the independent variable. We call it independent because it is the value we control or change on purpose. This is the value we put on the x-axis of a graph. The purity of oxygen is the dependent variable because its value depends on the amount of hydrocarbons. So, pansin po natin yung purity of oxygen po natin is nagre-relay po siya sa ano magiging value nito. And proceed po tayo sa yung purpose po ng table and graph po natin. After po i-list ang mga values, makaka-create po tayo ng scatter plot. Ang scatter plot po helps us to visualize all the X and Y pairs in one picture and see the relationship between hydrocarbons and oxygen purity. We are checking if the level of hydrocarbons affects the purity of oxygen by plotting the data we can see if higher hydrocarbons lead to higher purity, lower purity, or there's no consistent pattern. So, yung scatter plot po is ipipresent po ni Mr. Mark Gian Talisik.
So, yun po, figure 1, scatter plot diagram showing the purity of oxygen and percentage of hydrocarbon in distillation unit. Now, the scatter plot shows that while no single curve fits all data points exactly, the points appear to cluster around a straight line. Hence, it is reasonable to assume a linear relationship between the mean purity of oxygen Y and the percentage of hydrocarbon X, expressed as expected value of Y given X, or mu Y given X equals A plus B X, where yung A po natin is yung intercept and yung B naman ay yung slope. At tinatawag po silang regression coefficients. So, although the mean of Y varies linearly with X, the actual values of Y do not lie exactly on the line. So, to generalize for this variation, gagamitin po nating formula dito ay Y is equals to A plus BX plus epsilon, where yung epsilon po is random error. Kapag naman po isang yung equation po ay with one independent variable, tinatawag po siyang simple linear regression model. Pero meron din pong times na it is based on theoretical relationship, but kapag wala pong nag-exist, the model is chosen by inspecting the scatter plot, making it an empirical model. So, dito naman po sa figure 2, nagpapakita po ng scatter plot diagram with added trend line with an equation of y equals 75 plus 15x. So, regression modeling linear relationship, the least squares approach. A simple linear regression involves one independent or response variable, y, and one independent regressor or predictor variable, x. It assumes that y varies randomly from each x and that their true relationship is linear. So, yun, kagaya na yung formula po kanina na expected value y given x or mu y given x equals a plus b, where a and b are the intercept and the slope.
So, ipinapakita po dito sa table 1 po yung mga summary po ng lahat ng values na ginamit po natin sa regression computations. Kasama po dito yung mga sum, mean, at squared values po ng x and y. Mahalaga po yung mga ito para po makuha po natin yung slope at intercept na bumubuo po sa ating regression equation. So, dito po sa right side, makikita po natin kung paano po nakuha yung regression equation. Una po, kinumpit po natin yung SSXX, tapos po yung SSXY. Gamit po yung mga formula, tapos po nakuha po natin yung slope po na 14.94748. Tapos po yung intercept na 74.28331. Kaya po yung final po natin na y hat ay 74.283 plus 14.947x. Ibig sabihin po bawat dagdag po ng 1 unit sa x, tumataas po yung y ng halos 14.95 units. Sa madaling sabi po, pinapakita po ng equation na may positibong relationship po sa pagitan ng x and y. Dito naman po, kinumpit po natin dito yung residuals of difference, actual at predicted values. Pinag-add po namin yung square ng residuals para po makuha po yung SSE na 21.2498. Tapos po hinati po sa n-2 para po makuha po natin yung sigma squared na 1.1805 na nagpapakita po kung gaano po ka-accurate yung ginawa po natin. Tapos po dito po sa 10.3 correlation, estimating the strength of linear relation. Ang correlation po ay paraan po para po malaman po natin yung reaction po ng dalawang variables at gaano po ito kalakas. Tapos para po makuha po yung correlation coefficient na tinatawag na R, kailangan po natin kunin yung tatlong sum of squares. Ito po, SSXX, SSYY, at SSXY po. Tapos po, pag nakuha na po natin yung tatlo, ginagamit po natin yung formula na R equals sum of square of xy over square root of sum square xx times sum of square yy. Kapag po malapit sa 1 ang R, strong positive relationship po. Tapos po kapag malapit naman po sa negative 1, strong negative po. Kapag malapit naman po sa 0, halos wala po silang relationship sa isa't isa. Dito naman po. After po natin makuha yung SSXY at SSXX, kinuha po natin yung SSXY po. Gamit po yung formula. Nakuha po natin dito yung 10.17744. Ginamit po natin yung formula na correlation coefficient na R sum squares xy over square root of sum of square xx times sum of square yy. At yung result po ng R po natin is 0.9367 na ibig sabihin po ay malakas po yung positive linear relationship nila po ng positive linear relationship po ng dalawang variables po. Ibig sabihin po kapag tumaas po ang x, tumaas din po yung y in very consistent pattern po. Kinuha po din natin yung R squared po na naging 0.774 na nagpakita po na mga 88% ng variation ng y ay naipaliwanag na linear relationship nito sa x. Dito naman po sa 10.4 Hypothesis Test in Simple Linear Regression. Pinapakita po dito kung paano po natin tinetest kung meaningful talaga ang slope at intercept sa simple linear regression. Para po maging valid po yung mga test na ito, kailangan po natin sundin ng model ang assumption para po sa error term epsilon I. Especially dapat po yung mga errors ay normal, independent, may mean na zero, at may constant po na variable na sigma squared na tinatawag po natin na NID 0, sigma squared. Kapag satisfied po yung assumption po natin na ito, nagiging reliable po yung hypothesis test po natin at confident intervals po. Kaya mas tiyak po natin na susuri ang quality ng regression model. Dito naman po sa 10.4.1, use of t-test, pinapakita po natin dito kung paano natin tinetest kung equal ba sa isang specific value yung slope ng regression line. Para gawin ito, nagset po tayo ng hypothesis H naught B equals B naught at H1 B is not equal to B naught. Mahalaga po na yung error terms po natin ay normal, independent, may mean na zero, at constant variable. Ayun nga po yung NID na sinasabi po natin. Dahil po dito, normal din po yung distribution ng yi or y sub I at eventually po, pati po ng mga slope ng estimator na lahat na b. Tapos po kapag po normal distribution ni hat b, nagiging valid at reliable po ang t-test po natin para po malaman kung meaningful at significantly different ba yung slope mula sa b naught po. Dahil sa assumption po, nagiging trustworthy po yung test natin kung totoo o hindi ang slope na gusto po natin i-check. Yun lang po. Next presenter po.
both cases, the null hypothesis is to be rejected if the computed value of the test statistic t sub 0 is such that the magnitude of t sub 0 is greater than Ta over 2 n minus 2. A very important case of the hypothesis is the null hypothesis is B equals B sub 0, the H1 is B is not equals to B sub 0, is the null hypothesis is B equals 0, and the H1 is B is not equal 0. This relates to the significance of regression failure to reject the null hypothesis H sub 0 B equals 0 is equivalent to concluding that there is no linear relationship between the dependent and the independent variables, or that the true relationship between the two variables is not linear. The null hypothesis B equals 0 is rejected. It could mean that the straight line model is adequate or there is a linear effect of the independent variable. The analysis of variance approach is used in analyzing the quality of the estimated regression line. It is a procedure where the total variation, the dependent variable, is subdivided into meaningful components that are then observed and treated systematically. Suppose that we have n experimental data points in the usual form xy, and the regression line is estimated in the previous section. The estimation of R2 is identity is established by S sub double y is equals to Bs xy plus SSE. An alternative and informative formulation is partitioning of the total corrected sum of squares of y to two components. The summation of y is equals to 1 times y sub I minus y times 2 equals to summation of 1 times y sub y minus y times 2 plus the summation equals 1 y sub y I minus y sub I times 2. Symbolically, SST equals SSR plus SSE, where SSR is the regression sum of squares which reflects the amount of variation in y values explained by the straight line model. SSE is the error sum of squares which reflects the variation about the regression line. If we are to test the hypothesis, the null hypothesis beta equals 0, and the first hypothesis beta is not equal 0, where the null hypothesis says that the model is mean y and x equals alpha. This means that the variation in y results from random chances or fluctuations that are independent of x. In order to do this, the hypothesis, the f statistic, is to be used. It is by this equation. F equals SSR over 1 SSE over n minus 2 equals SSR S squared. This explains how to use an f-statistic to test the null hypothesis, which implies that the independent variable has no linear effect on the dependent variable. The hypothesis is rejected if the computed f is greater than f alpha times 1 n minus 2. Prediction of new observation. This section focuses on using fitted regression line y equals a plus bx to predict values. Key points include the equation can be estimate the mean value of the response variable y x sub 0 or the single value when x is equals x sub 0. The error of prediction is to be expected to be higher when predicting a single value compared to the predicting a mean value. The point estimator y sub 0 equals a plus bx sub 0 is used to estimate mean y x sub 0 equals alpha plus beta x sub 0, and its sampling distribution is normal with mean y sub 0 equals alpha plus bx sub 0 equals mean y x sub 0. In here, it explains how to construct 1 minus alpha times 100% confidence interval for the mean response. Mean mean sub y x sub 0 of a simple linear regression model at a specific predictor value x sub 0. The fitted regression model is y equals alpha plus beta sub x, and the quantity of interest is the mean of y when x equals x sub 0. Mean sub y x sub 0 equals to alpha plus b sub bx sub 0. The sampling distribution of the estimator y sub 0 is equals to alpha plus b x sub 0. It's approximately normal, and its standard error depends on the residual variance and on how far x sub 0 lies from the sample mean x. Page gives statistic t y sub 0 minus mean sub y x sub 0 over s times the square root of 1 over n plus x sub 0 minus x over s sub double x, which follows a t-distribution with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. From that, we can get the 1 minus a alpha. From the example, we can see the formula is y sub 0 plus or minus t sub alpha over 2 n minus 2 s times the square root of 1 minus n plus x sub 0 minus x squared over s sub double x. The s squared is the SSC over n minus 2. It is the estimated residual variance. The SXX or the S sub double x is the summation of x sub I minus mean squared. It is the sum of the square deviation of x. The t sub alpha over 2 and minus 2 is the t quantile. This interval estimates the mean value of y at x sub 0 at a single new observation that would need an extra s squared term. From here, we can see an example. Using the level of purity of oxygen, construct a 95% confidence interval about mean response. In particular, predict the mean oxygen at 1.00%. The fitted model in here is y equals 74.283 plus 14.947x. They want a 95% confidence interval for the mean y at x sub 0 equals 1.00. The page shows from the screenshot that the following values used in CL formula is t sub 0.025 and minus 2 equals 2.101. The estimated residual variance S squared is equals to 1.18. The sample size is n equals 20. The sample mean is 1.1960. And the S sub double x is 0.68088. At this point, we need to plug in the values. The y sub 0 equals 74283 plus 14.947 times 1 equals to 74.283 plus 14.947 equals 89.283 to 230. The standard error formula SE times y sub 0 equals to S times square root of 1 over n plus x sub 0 is squared over s sub double x. Then we can plug in the numbers. 1.18 times 1 over the population 20 plus 1 minus 1.1960 squared over 0.68088. When we calculate it, the result is 0.3549. The next step is to multiply the t-value to get the margin of error. The margin is equals to 2.101 times 0.3549. It is equals to 0.7445. And next is the construct of CL. To solve this, we need to add 89.230 plus or minus 0.7445. The answer for that is 88.486 and 89.975. Conclusion, the 95% confidence interval for the mean oxygen purity at x sub 0 is 1, and it is approximately 88.49 and 89.98.
So, good morning everyone. I am Clark Walter Casildo and I'll be presenting this slide 10.6 Adequacy of the Regression Model. In regression analysis, it is assumed that the variables with mean zero, constant variance, and normal distribution The model must also have the correct functional form such as linearity in simple linear regression to verify this assumption and ensure model adequacy, and residual analysis and the coefficient of determination R2 are commonly used. So 10.6.1 Residual analysis. Residual analysis, defined as the difference between observed and fitted values, are used in regression analysis to check model assumptions. By examining histogram or normal probability plots of the residuals, analysts can assess whether the errors are normally distributed, have constant variance, and whether the model might need additional terms. So residual AI equals YY and used to check. So how to check? We are using normality of errors, constant variance, or homoscedasticity, or linearity of the relationship. So our tools of residual analysis is residual plots or predictive values or variables, normal probability plot, and histogram of residuals. So the pattern in residuals are random scatter and interpretation, satisfactory model, funnel shape, non-constant variance, double bow, missing variable or non-linearity, so curve and non-linear relationship. So 10.6.2 coefficient of determination R2 measures how well the regression model explain the variability in the data. So R2 is equal to SSR over SST. So the range between 0 and 1, for example, for the oxygen purity model is R2 equals 152.13 over 173.38 is equal to 0.877. So the model explained 87.7% of variability. Note that high R2 always a better model, so beware of overfitting. Thank you.
So, our next topic is correlation. So, ano nga ba yung correlation? Correlation is the analysis that measures the strength of the relationship between two variables using a single value called a correlation coefficient. So, dito, basically sa correlation, mini-measure nito kung ano yung relation ng dalawang variables at kung gaano sila related sa isa't isa. So, tinatanong dito kadalasan is kung yung isang variable ay tumaas, tataas rin ba yung isa or bababa? Ayun. So, example, yung mga student na mas masipag mag-aral ay nakakuha ng exam scores na mas mataas. So, sa correlation, hahanapin natin yung kung gaano kalaki yung pagbabago nung score nung student nung siya ay mas nag-aral. So, we have here the formula, which is the R is equal to B1 times the square root of SXX over SYY. Or it can be simplified to SXY over the square root of SXX times SYY. Dito, S represents the standard deviation. So, kung may subscript na X, for example, SX, it is the standard deviation of the variable X. So, kung SY man yan, That's the standard deviation of the coefficient y. Now, SXY means it is the product of the standard deviations of the variables x and y. So, magigets pa natin yan sa examples. So, yan. So, ito yung example number 1. So, itong table na to is the scores of 5 students in math and science. So, meron tayong student A, B, C, D, at E. So, ang scores nila sa math is 80, 90, and so on. And ang scores nila sa science ay 85, 95, and so on. So, unang step natin dito ay hanapin yung mean or yung standard deviation ng math at science. Then, kukuha na natin yung mean ng bawat subject. And then, i-combine natin yung standard deviations in terms of x and y, xx, yy. Then, lastly, isa-substitute na natin siya sa formula. So, yan. Dito, mas makikita natin na in-explain yung steps. So, for math, gagawin natin siyang x and the science for y. So, para makuha yung standard deviation, discuss na naman siya sa past mga subjects. So, meron tayong A, B, C, D, at E. So, 5 yun. Yun yung denominator natin sa ating fraction. So, simplifying, we have 385 over 5. So, that equates to 77. And, same thing, gagawin natin siya sa y. We have 400 over 5 and 80 yun. So, nakuha na natin yung standard deviation ng math and science. Now we will compute the deviations from the mean for each subject. So, ito, medyo nakakalito to, pero once na gets nyo, simple lang. So, kukuha natin try natin tong math ni student A. So, dito, 80 siya sa math. Ngayon, ma-minus natin siya sa nakuha nating standard deviation kanina. So, yung 80 is x. So, 80 minus 77. Ngayon, gagawin natin siya sa lahat ng score sa math ng bawat student. So, meron tayong 90. So, sunod doon is 90 minus 77. Sunod kay student C naman is 70. So, 70 minus 77 again. And kay student D is 60. 60 minus 77. Next is 85 minus 77. So, ayun. Now, yung totals nila is 3, 30, negative 7, 17, and 8. So, gagamitin natin yun sa sunod na calculations. And now is for science naman. So, y yan. Ang kay student A ay 85. Ang standard deviation ay 80. So, 80 minus 85. And so on and so forth. So, yun. Madali lang step 2 once na nagets natin. So, ngayon is step 3 na. So, meron tayo ditong product nung nakuha natin sa step 2. So, then isusumation natin sila. So, plus lang yan. So, ang value ng ating SXY ay 500. Ang sunod naman ay SXX. So, again, yung x is x minus x bar. So, dito, x minus x bar times x minus x bar. Kaya naging x minus x bar squared na siya. So, Same thing. 3 times 3 kaya naging 3 squared. 13 times 13 kaya naging 13 squared. 7 times 7 kaya naging 7 squared. So, ayun. And ang lalabas dyan is 9 plus 169 plus 49 plus 289 plus 64 is equal to 580. Ayun lang. Yun ang value ng ating SXX. And again, same thing, gagawin natin siya sa XYY. So, again, y minus y minus y bar squared. So, yung unang term is 5, so 5 squared plus 15 squared plus negative 5 squared and so on. So, lalabas din is 25 plus 225 plus 25 again plus 225 is equal to 500. So, ngayon, ang ating values for SXX is SXY is 500, SXX is 580, SYY is 500. So, moving on. Ang sunod na step, again, if we would go back to the first slide. So, isa-substitute na lang natin siya dito sa ating formula na R is equal to SXY over the square root of SXX times SYY. So, again, ang value ng ating SXY is 500. Value ng SXX is 580. So, times 500 siya. Dahil SYY yun. And then, radical. Simplifying, we will have 0.928. So, kung babalik tayo sa slide natin kanina, na niligdangan natin, nakalagay dito is, a value of positive 1 indicates that a perfect positive relationship, and negative 1 indicates a perfect negative relationship, and 0 means no linear relationship. So, if the value of the answer na nakuha natin, so ano ba yung answer natin kanina? It is 0.928. So, if the value is closer to 0, then it means the relationship is weaker. If it is closer to positive 1, it indicates a stronger positive relationship. And on the other hand naman, if closer siya sa negative 1, it is more on the stronger but negative relationship. So, dito meron pa tayong, so, yun lang, ganun lang yung pagkuha ng correlation coefficient in terms of the, yun nga, yung subjects. So, next slide, meron pa tayong mga iba pang examples dito, pero same lang to ng example kanina, na iba lang yung subject. So, meron tayo ditong employee, yung kanilang training hours and productivity. So, titingnan na dito, isang goal dito is makita kung gaano yung pagbabago ng haba ng training ng employee sa kanilang productivity. So, based sa table na to, makikita na agad natin na hindi porket mas mahaba nag-train yung employee is mas productive na siya. So, makikita natin dito is 90 points yung productivity nung mas mababang hours na training time nung employee. So, again, yung unang step, kukunin natin yung standard deviation or yung average. So, 6 and 78. Step 2 is yung x minus x bar or x minus standard deviation. Gagawin natin siya for x and y. Sunod is pag multiply natin yung standard deviations ng x and y. x at x, and y sa y. So, meron tayong 130, 40 at 430. And then, plug in lang sa formula. So, ganun lang kasimple yun. Ganun lang yung kadali. And, pwede nyo tong itry sa sarili nyo kung pares ng lalabas. So, wala na lang tayong oras kasi medyo nahaba na yung video. Meron pa tayo ditong isang example. Ayan. So, pwede din siya sa temperature. And temperature ng ice cream at saka correlation niya sa sales ng ice cream. So, yan. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and substitute. So, yun lamang po yung aming presentation. Salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Sana po kayo may natutunan. Yun lang po. Thank you po.